11 tense moments between an embattled mayor and members of city council. Those are caught on camera.
Presiding and asking the council to
council members.
I'm asking for a vote.
Council, Mayor Pro Tem.
I'm asking for a vote.
I heard your appeal. Okay.
Well, that all happening in Stockbridge. That brief spat between the mayor, Jayden Williams, and the mayor pro tem happened as tonight's meeting started. Mayor Williams is fighting to clear his name and get some perks restored. Atlanta News' first Alani Latang was inside that meeting after a number of people spoke in favor of the mayor.
Stockbridge Mayor Jayden Williams is in a controversial legal battle with his own city. Just 6 months after being elected the city's youngest mayor, the mayor is claiming the city overstepped its charter when they restricted his power. In a packed, feisty Stockbridge City Council meeting, the elephant in the room addressed Mayor Jayden Williams under investigation, stripped of his authority.
As time went on, I began to see things that were not of the norm of a mayor.
The city's youngest mayor ever elected at just 22 years old is being investigated for allegedly misusing city funds and sexual misconduct. His lead attorney, Robert Kenner Jr., speaking on his behalf.
We have not had not one document or shred of evidence to tell us what they're talking about.
Several residents supporting their mayor at Tuesday's meeting.
There's too many shenanigans going on, and there's no benefit to you. We want to protect you. You may be young. Nobody wants to get rid of you, but you know who. Stand your ground. You are the mayor. Stick it out.
This month, City Council voted to temporarily revoke some of his city privileges and access. In response, Mayor Williams is suing the city, seeking to restore his mayoral privileges and spending.
If it was intentional, then they would be trying to file some type of criminal action against him. But I guarantee you that if you look at the budget of other councilmen and women, you'll see the same type of situation going on.
On Tuesday, City Council voted no to expand their investigation to include all City Council members' spending dating back to 2020.
You know, sometimes people like to throw stones when they live in a glass house.
Mayor Williams can still preside over City Council meetings during the investigation. His lawyer says that in August there will be a court hearing where a judge will decide whether or not to reinstate him of his privileges. Reporting in Stockbridge, I'm Alani Latang, Atlanta News First.